Good afternoon everyone. I finished my cup of tea and I will be giving a tour slash update on what's going on in the fish room and other projects I've got going on. There may be some progress or lack of progress with a few of the little projects, but I'll grab the camera and we'll go have a look round. Dippy and Dopey, the two fish I rescued a week ago Friday. Yes, so today is Monday, so a week ago Friday. They are doing pretty well in quarantine at the moment. As you can see, Dopey is absolutely massive and rather interactive. If I stick my finger here, he'll probably come up and try and bite it. Yep, see? Try and bite my hand off. It is nearly feeding time, so what we will do is we'll give him a quick feed. Dippy, which is the little fish behind him, which is the one with the broken tail and a blood clot, has coloured up a little bit better, but he's hiding. There he is. He's hiding behind the sponge filter. He's doing a little bit better, but he does swim rather erratically because of that broken tail. So let's grab some food to feed these guys. So dump a little bit of food in there. Okay, so that's Dippy and Dopey and their tank. They're going to be in here for another 3 to 4 weeks as long as there's no problems. I need to move the sponge filter back. They are currently getting a 50% water change every day, as I do like to feed heavily and the temperature is elevated in here. This tank is currently sitting at 22 degrees. Plus I do feed 5 times a day. We've got some pothos out the top which will help by pulling out those nitrates. But when you've got a big fish like that in a little quarantine tank like this, you've got to do everything to make sure that, well, the tank doesn't become too smoky with nitrate. Here we have my 5 goldfish. We have Lucky and Chance, the 2 Ryukin goldfish I bred last year, which, well, the only 2 survivors as we had that huge nitrate spike that wiped out all their brothers and sisters. We also have the 3 Pearlscales from award-winning breeder Ping Pong Pearlscales. I'll leave a link to him below. They're currently in this little 54-litre aquarium, but I have got plans to move the 3 Pearlscales into their own aquascape. I have the tank, I've got the wood cut, and I've also got the breeze blocks ready to build a stand for it, and we'll be doing a video on building them a nice aquascape at some point in the near future, which will be going just over the other side of the fish room. I will give you a quick spin of the fish room later. With Lucky and Chance, I don't know if they're going to remain in this tank or join the 3 Pearlscales in the new aquascape, but all of them are doing very well. They're in here. This tank is also sitting at 22 degrees. It's having water changes every day, about 40 to 50% daily. They're being fed 5 times a day, a mixture of high protein food and a lot of algae and vegetables. I'm now sat on the floor next to my tank with my longfin white cloud mountain minnows. We've got 15 of them in here. They like to flare up and look absolutely stunning. I do believe this tank is mostly males. There's possibly 1 female in here that is a lot smaller, but I would like to get some more of these and breed them. This tank is where I'm growing some Java moss, some hornwort, as well as some water sprite, and I'm growing some duckweed, which the goldfish are going to eat. I've also got some pothos hanging out the top and a little bit of monstera. This tank is on a 20% water change once a week, which is normally on a Thursday. It gets fed between 2 to 3 times a day. Down there I believe is the female. There's also in here a little hitchhiker snail, which I believe came in with the water sprites. I'm hoping that it's not an assassin snail, but it is in here somewhere. I did spot it on the filter the other day, but it's not killed the neurite snail yet. It's a little snail about this big. I love this tank. I think these are a very underappreciated fish, especially the longfin. Lost my words there. The longfin variety. I think everyone should own these at some point and just watch them flare up, especially first thing in the morning. And I also think these would be a great fish to line breed with. These two fish here, you can see this one's got a little bit of yellow on the tip of its fins, and this one's got bright red. So you could possibly line breed a red version and a yellow version. So that's it for my white cloud mountain minnows. Here we have my two guppy tanks. We have my snow white guppies and my platinum Dumbo redtail guppies. They are both completely full of fry and will be moving on to larger aquariums very shortly. Now that I have the glass pieces required to fix the other aquariums, these will be moved on quickly. Now in this one we have a lot more growth because I'm doing a little bit of an experiment. I'm heating this tank to 25 degrees and this one is heated by the room temperature, so it's sat at 22 degrees. And it's interesting to see that the babies in here are growing at twice the rate as the babies in here. And I find that really interesting. In here we have, well, a big lump of Java moss, as you can see, great big lump there. We also have a great big lump of Java moss here. We have a little bit of pothos at the top of this one, which is becoming more of a nuisance because I've not fitted it in properly, and every time I do a water change it tends to dip this leaf in, which is just very annoying. We also have in here another hitchhiker snail, which is that little guy there. See if I can get a little close up of him. Probably, can you zoom in? No, not very well. I'll zoom out. So we have a little hitchhiker snail in here. I'm also growing a little bit of water sprite. Oh, there's a snail on the water sprite just there. We've got two pregnant females. You can see they're pregnant by their rounded yet squared body, and two beautiful males which like to harass the females. It's one of the reasons we have an awful lot of fry in here. Slide across, or just knocking everything over, to the snow white guppies. So we're going to adjust the camera. So here's the snow whites. We've got 3 females and 2 males in here. Now if you've been watching any of my videos, I've not had a lot of luck with these when I first got them. I kept losing them in the first week when I got them from Tropco. I then got some delivered from a breeder up in Scotland, and those ones have been doing absolutely fantastic. This is full of little white babies, absolutely covering the tank. I need to give the tank a bit of a clean, but I love watching this tank from afar, especially when you feed it and you just see this big cloud of little white dots eating everything. Now, both of these tanks are on a 20% water change twice a week, normally on a Monday and a Friday. They're being fed at the moment a mixture of, well, grow food, a bit of algae food, a little bit of rapashi, 2 to 3 times a day. But I think it's doing them great as they're growing massively. There's a lot of algae for them to eat around the edge. There's a little baby guppy eating the algae. Only clean the fronts. They both need a bit of a clean now, on both sides. But there we go. There's my 2 guppy aquariums. These are only little cubes, so I think they're 25 litres each, 30 centimetres by 30 centimetres by 30 centimetres. I think that's about 25 litres. This is the final aquarium we have in the fish room currently, which is my Variatus Platy aquarium and my Celestial Pearl Danios, which sometimes come out. There's one there. Well, just a complete mess of an aquascape. We've got water wisteria mixed in with Java moss. We've got the roots from this giant pothos, which is, well, just going down into the substrate and sucking out all the nitrates released by these fish. And this aquarium is it's a factory that just produces hundreds of these little babies. There's a celestial pearl there. So we started off in this aquarium with 4 Variatus platies, which was 1 male, which is this bright yellow one with a red tail, and 3 females. Now here's one of the original females, but unfortunately due to overbreeding we lost the other 2. So they're the only 2 original fish. After that we had them and they bred, we then went out and bought 5, I think it was 5 or 6 of these little celestial pearl Danios, which is a little schooling fish about this big, which can be a little bit shy, but they like to mix in with the Variatus. So sometimes you'll be looking and going, nope, that is a celestial pearl Danio in with these Variatus platies. We also have in here some mystery snails, which we got 1 down here. Those are 1 up there. Purple mystery snails, which I'm also hoping one day to breed. But the most impressive thing I find about this tank is this giant pothos that's growing. So it's coming out this end and it's just growing massive out. Oh, just broke it a bit. Hey Google, turn on the light. It's growing massive out the side of the aquarium and growing up the wall and up the aquarium rack. This was the first aquarium we had in the fish room, and well, pretty much all the moss we have throughout all the other aquariums is just been taken by taking a little bit of this, stick it in another aquarium, and it's exploded. This aquarium is 54 litres. It gets fed, I say twice a day, sometimes it's 3 times a day. It gets a 20 litre, no not a 20 litre, it's a 20% water change every Thursday. So here we have the back wall of the fish room. I finally have the glass. Don't trip over. See, I've got the glass here. I tried getting it locally, but the person I was speaking to wasn't very reliable. But I have the glass pieces to fix the rest of these aquariums, so they will be fixed probably as bad as the work I did in Dopey and Dippy's tank, but that will be done shortly. So that will be all of those aquariums patched and ready to go. So we will have 12, we're going to have 15 of these 54 litre aquariums set up. Oh, don't get dizzy. They'll be set up in this fish room for doing different aquascapes. Now with the 3 pearl scales, excuse the mess here, I've got breeze blocks over in the corner here, which were commandeered by my friend Ron. Hopefully somebody doesn't have a house being built and it ends up being a foot short. But we're going to be putting the breeze blocks up here. I've then got wood cut from when I was up B&Q the other day, which will put a great big aquarium stand along this wall, and we will be having a 4-foot aquarium and a 3-foot aquarium, which are in the other room, which I'll show you in a second, brought into here, and they will become the aquascapes for the goldfish. We also have this 4-foot by 1-foot by 1-foot aquarium, which will be going over here by the window, also on breeze blocks and wood, which has also been cut. Then we're getting some additional water butts to hold the water needed for our water changes. So this water butt will be going into the kitchen, and I've got a 250 litre one which will go here, which will allow us to do a 50% water change on all of the aquariums on the back wall. We're getting another 251 to go where my friend Christie's aquarium that she gave us is. That will be able to do a water change on the 4-foot, the 3-foot and the other 4-foot. Christie's aquarium will probably end up in the kitchen. Oh, heating for the fish room, forgot to mention that. I've been having lots of fun with heating in the fish room, and so far the thing that is working is this oil radiator, which was a gift from my friend Ron. It's set at 21 degrees And for some reason that means the tanks sit at about 22 degrees, which doesn't make sense. So I think the thermostat's just a little bit off. It could be that the heater is on the floor and the aquariums are higher up, so heat rises, so 1 degree, possibly more likely. But there we have it. That's what's going on in the fish room. We're now in the kitchen and I'm sat in front of my 280 litre Ryukin Goldfish aquarium. If any of you have been watching my channel, you're probably aware of these. We've got my 2 males where we've got Bruno and Lance. My 2 females, nope, you're not females, Lance. My 2 females, Agatha and Lorelei. Now, I've been slowly raising the temperature on this tank so that we're able to breed them. I've put a spawning mop in, which is down here in the corner. It's not very fancy, it's just some wool and a plant weight. But we'll be breeding these Ryukin goldfish and raising up the babies to enter into some goldfish competitions around the UK. This tank, as I said, is 280 litres, which is about 75 gallons. It receives a 50%, well, it's not 50%, it's about 40%, a 40% water change every single day. These fish are fed 5 times a day at the moment while the water's sitting at 21, 22 degrees. As I raise the temperature up as we get into summer, I will be feeding them a lot more so that they can just explode into a massive ball of goldfish. In this tank, we have got a Crinum Crascutul. I will put that across the screen because I've got no chance of pronouncing it. We've got 3 bits of Anubias. 2 of the bits of Anubias were from a aquarium rescue I did where the person didn't want them, so I've placed them in here. A great big lump of Java fern, and out the top we've got again a big vine of pothos on both sides and 2 peace lilies, which I am hoping will flower again very soon as we've entered spring. This room isn't heated, but the tank is, so I will assume they will begin to flower at some point. I know the ones in B&Q are flowered, but if they're trying to sell them, they probably would sell the flowered ones. But there we go, that's my Ryukin aquarium. On the other side of the room, which if I quickly spin you round. So here we have my betta aquarium, my betta aquarium with my little rescue betta known as Tartacus, who, as we can see, likes to show off. He's a little bit of an old man and a bit of a grouch, so he's kept in here on his own. He loves his TARDIS. I don't know if he's a grumpy old man, a bit like Peter Capaldi when he played the Doctor, but he loves going inside there. Again, we have some more Anubias in here. These were from a aquarium rescue where the person just wanted to throw the plants away, and I was like, well, you can't throw them away. So I put them in here with Tart, and well, Tart sleeps on top of them. He likes sleeping in the TARDIS, on the TARDIS, and sometimes on the leaves. We're also floating some water wisteria. This light unit is beginning to break, so when this light breaks, I will be replacing this lid and putting a new lid on with a different light and changing the entire filtration to be a sponge filter. This is currently filtered. Let's see if I can get a better view. Yeah, there we go. So it's currently filtered with a little inbuilt back unit made by Fluville, which uses a lot of electric for not doing a lot. So I will rip out the entire back and make his tank bigger. It's 34 litres, but removing the back, it'll give him an extra 2 litres of movement, or movement area. So yeah, that is our betta aquarium. Now this is the room behind the fish room, which is beginning to look a little bit like an aquarium graveyard with empty tanks and tubs everywhere. Oh, that's a little project I've got going on at the moment. I'll be doing some filming on that at some point. Oh, my really cool safe I have. But yes, this is the, well, the fish tank graveyard, aquarium graveyard, but here we have the wood cut to go into the fish room, which will form the stands for that aquarium over there and this aquarium. This is the aquarium that Dippy and Dopey originally came in. It's a 19-inch cube. Here's the mirage? No, that's not the right word. Here's the big lump of plastic plants that came with them. I will probably be putting them on Facebook for somebody to have for free. The next project I have, once the fish room is up and running, so there's the tanks that need patching. The next project will be, well, hopefully as soon as I can, is setting up this conservatory. Oh, there's an echo in here. It's a complete tip. Into a goldfish nursery to raise up the baby Ryukin when I've bred them. So we're going to take the 2 tubs here and place them there, and there. We've got 4 water butts on order. So we've got the 2 that are going in the fish room and 2 which will be going here and here. I will be running water in from over there through the wall into the 2 water butts, so we're able to give them a water change. I will also be doing a water change system which will work on a series of pumps, which I also have. The pumps have been delivered. They are in that that packet down there, which will then pump the water from the 2 tubs that are going here out, hopefully into a bathtub, which I've got out the front at the moment, which will go here and act as a little sort of aquaponic system, just as a experiment. Doesn't mean the experiment's going to work. Oh, please ignore the garden. I am a terrible gardener. It's a complete tip. I just want to fill it with ponds, which I'll probably do one day. But there we have it. That will be the picture of a clownfish. This will be the goldfish nursery. Thank you very much for watching this quick update / tour of the fish room. Well, I should say fish house, as it's slowly taking over my house. I will warn you that multi-tank syndrome is extremely contagious. You start with 1 tank and you end up with 50 million of them. Well, I hope I end up with 50 million tanks. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I'm off now. I'm going to have another cup of tea. I don't know what I'm going to have. Probably an Earl Grey, maybe a Lady Grey. But I'll see you next time.